My name is Angie Andreessen. I'm the business analyst here at DLI, working on the Workers' Compensation Modernization Program. Today, we are just going to run through some of the frequently asked questions that we get from group admins. And then if you all have some additional questions, please feel free to throw those in the chat as you think of them. I have gone ahead and just muted everybody so that we can kind of keep background noise to a minimum. I'll go ahead and record this call as well so that it will be posted up on the DLI website. So our agenda is very similar to our last one. We just got some frequently asked questions. We'll do a Q&A and then demo any functionality that may be necessary. And then we'll just talk about the need to continue these types of answer hours in the future. So again, as I mentioned, this will be specifically focused on group management. If you have any thoughts as we're going through, please feel free to enter those into the chat, and any feedback on the cadence and the frequency and duration of these meetings that you'd like to see, please feel free to put that in the chat as well as we go. So just to start with some frequently asked questions that we get from group administrators. So some people have asked about users that are pending. They have some users that are still showing up as pending in their group. So if that is the case, make sure that that user is registered with the same email address that is listed on the group invitation. Most of the time when we see this, it's due to a user having made a typo when they registered for campus. That's something that can be pretty easily resolved. I would just recommend contacting the help desk and we can help with that. Typically what will happen is after that user corrects their email, it should just go ahead and move them into the active user group. Permissions. So how do I change permissions for users? And I know we go through this pretty much every time we do this call, but it's relatively simple. So if you're a group administrator, you should be able to just click your name, click on my groups, and then you'll actually want to go ahead and go to Manage Group. So you can see here I've got all these people listed. All I would need to do if I wanted to change permissions for one of them is just click on the user, and then you can see here Angela doesn't have any permissions. I can click Edit, and then I can just add or remove permissions that are appropriate for her to have. One that is pretty popular with most of our insurer and TPA groups is this global claim access. What this is going to do is it's just going to allow anybody with this permission to be able to view claims at the entity level. Now, something that we just talked about in the previous answer hour is that claims are going to be automatically assigned moving forward with EDI information. So if you have somebody in your group who is also an EDI transaction, their email address, as long as those two match and the group matches, they should be listed as the adjuster for that file. And that would just be updated with your next EDI transaction. If for some reason the adjuster changes, if you all send like an O2 or an NT or just report that on the next filing, that update would go ahead and be made as well. That's kind of global claim access. I'm just going to go ahead and talk through the rest of these permissions as well. We've got our group administrator permissions. That is the person or people who is responsible for adding and removing group members and then adjusting their permissions. Service of process designee. Anyone with this credential would be served in any instance where the company is being served with something. So it would not just go to one person, it would go to anybody who has the service of process designee permission. Designated contact for information requests from DLI, that works similarly to the above. Whoever has this permission would be listed as the person who would receive these information requests from the department. Same with penalties. So one thing with penalties, if a service of process designee is listed for your company as well, they would also receive a copy of the penalty just because it's served. And so the penalties, they would receive penalties specifically, but the service of process designee would also receive those documents. designated contact for assessments, this is just going to be whoever from your company is specifically listed as an assessment contact. That's just for those end of year assessments. So typically it's going to be someone in finance. Profile management designee. This person can update the name and addresses or submit requests for name and addresses to be updated to BLI for your group. And then the claim access administrator is just somebody who can manually update that claim access on a claim level for individuals. Again, this is one that you may not be using quite as frequently now since we do have those automatic adjuster updates. So in this instance, I went ahead and I just granted the global claim access. If I realized I made a mistake or if I needed to remove that, I could just click this trash can. For now, I'm just going to give her some permissions. Click save. And after the system does its magic, you can see the green bar kind of going along the top there. It will go ahead and just update Angela's permissions. You can see that those permissions have been updated. If there's a specific address that she should be related to, you can just click edit location. You can leave it as all for any address, or you can choose a specific address that's associated with your company. And then if we wanted to remove her, we could just click this remove button and I would remove her. So hopping back into my slides, I think that we covered the My Claims queue. We covered the permissions, and then we covered how each of the permissions should be allocated for my group members in that short demo there. Another one that we get pretty frequently is this middle one. So my dashboard looks totally different than the standard dashboard, and why is this? That is typically because you are in a trading partner group. If you are a trading partner user, you are going to see all of the metrics associated with trading partner entities rather than just that normal dashboard that we were seeing on my screen. So yours is just a little bit more involved. So if your dashboard looks totally different, it's likely because you're in that trading partner group. And then the last question, my company operates as an insurer and a TPA. Do we need to have multiple groups? So yes, you would want to have multiple groups in that instance, especially if you are handling claims as a TPA for a company where you may not be underwriting those files. We would set you up as a TPA in that instance, but I know some of you all also have underwriting companies, so we would have separate groups set up for those specific entities. So one thing that I just want to call out that we run through on every answer hour is our Campus Central page. This will include all of our release notes, any correspondence that goes out via Gov delivery. All of those good things are going to be on our Campus Central page. So I'll go ahead and just open that up so y'all can see it. And this is updated very frequently. It's going to be updated every single time we send out this correspondence or we do a release. So just a good place to look if you have questions. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat. And I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat. So I'm wondering specifically with this group admin answer hours, we're kind of getting a lot of the kinks worked out. Is this something that you all think would be more appropriate to just roll in with our insurer answer hours that we are doing, or something that we're planning on just kind of decreasing the frequency to once a month on this one at the most? But if I could get some feedback from you all in the chat, that would be wonderful, just so we can consider that for future answer hour schedules. Okay, so I'm seeing that we could probably just include it in the insurer answer hours, so that's great. We will plan to just roll this into the insurer answer hours ongoing. So if there are group admin questions, they can be asked during that, and we can run through anything if it's something that you all have questions about. All right. So I'm not seeing anything else in the chat. With that, I think we'll end early today and give you all a good chunk of time back. But if there are any questions, as always, please feel free to reach out to the help desk. They'll create a ticket and get it to the correct people. But hopefully, as we kind of keep moving forward with campus, things are getting a little bit easier for everybody to figure out. And hopefully that explains the lack of questions. Thank you all so much for attending today. We will be in touch and plan to roll these in with the Insurer Answer Hours moving forward. Have a good rest of your day, everybody.